So hello guys, let's get started with the sample problem which I spoke about in my last video. So here we go. In a European league, 4 football teams are going to play against each other once. So 4 of the teams are Arsenal, AC Milan, Chelsea and Man U. After some matches have been played, a table was being made to display the result of those matches. So it says after some matches have been played. We have to note this because all the matches have not been played. However, much of the information in the table was accidentally erased as shown below. So we don't have the complete table but a part of it. It is known that the teams are awarded 2 points for a win, 1 for a draw and 0 for the loss. So this is also an important point to note. And based on this data and this table, we have to solve following problems which are like this. What was the score of the match between AC Milan and Arsenal? What was the score of the match between Arsenal and Man U? And what was the score of the match between Chelsea and AC Milan? So before attempting to solve this problem, let's understand a few basic things. One thing is about goals for and goals against. Let's talk about a single match. Let's say two teams A and B are playing against each other and the result of the match is A defeats B by 2 goals to 1. In that case, if I have to fill goals for A, it will be 2, while goals against A will be 1. On the other hand, for B it will be exactly opposite. Goals for is 1 while goals against is 2. But if you look at the total sum, total number of goals for in the match remains 3. Similarly, total number of goals against in the match also remains 3. So we have something to learn here. That is, goals for and goals against in a match remains same. Now since number of goals for and number of goals against remains same in a match, that same thing will apply to the whole tournament because tournament is nothing but a collection of matches. So since this is balanced in each and every match, that is number of goals for is equal to number of goals against, it will remain balanced for the whole tournament as well. Next concept is, in case of a win or a loss for a team, what happens to its goal difference? So let's say once again we take the same result. A defeats B by 2-1. In this case, goal difference of A is 2, that is goals scored minus goals conceded, equal to plus 1. So if your goal difference is positive, that means you have won the match, or in other words, if you have won the match, your goal difference will be positive. Let's see what's the goal difference of B, that is goals for minus goals against, equal to minus 1. So this says that if you have lost the match, which is B, then your goal difference will be negative. Goals for minus goals against is less than 0, hence your goal difference is negative. Let's say the score of the match was 1-1. In that case, match is a draw. In case of a draw, 1 minus 1 equal to 0. So your goal difference, that is goals for minus goals against, remains 0. Hence goal difference is 0. So now that we are clear about goals for, goals against and goal difference, we can take a stab at this problem. So first thing we learnt in the concept is that balancing the goals, that is goals for against goal and goals against remains same across the tournament. So if there have been 4 plus 2 plus 4 plus 3, that is total of 13 goals against in the tournament, that means there will be 13 goals for in the tournament. But this sum I see is 4 plus 5 equal to 9 plus 0 is 9. So for this total to be 13, I need 4 more goals because 9 plus 4 will make 13. So I have my one missing column filled with this value 4. So now once we have balanced the goals for and goals against, next let's come to balancing the victories with the points. For Arsenal, points are missing, so we can't guess the number of victories or loss. But for AC Milan, we see that it has got 5 points. Once again, just for revision sake, 2 points we get for a win, 0 points for loss, and 1 point for draw. Now if I look at AC Milan's point, it has got 5 points, and maximum matches AC Milan can play is 3, because if maximum number of matches it can play is that if it has already played against Arsenal, Chelsea and Man U, that means maximum number of matches which AC Milan can play is 3 only. So if it has got 5 points, it must have been from all the 3 matches, because had it played less than 3 matches, had it played say 2 matches only, so the maximum number of points in 2 matches could have been 4 only, because had he won both the matches, then it would have had 4 points. But since it has 5 points, so we are sure that it has played all 3 matches. We can also predict the results of those matches, because for it to get 5 points, it must have won 2 and drawn 1 match. So automatically it must have lost 0 matches. Next, coming to Chelsea. Now Chelsea we know has 2 points, but at the same time it has won 0 matches. So by this what we are sure of is that both these points have been accumulated from draws. So since it has not accumulated any point with a win, it has accumulated both these points with draws. And to get 2 points, it must have had 2 draws. Now what we are not sure is that what happened to the other match. Has it lost that match, or that match it has not played at all? Because maximum number of matches which Chelsea can play is 3. But we are not sure right now that Chelsea has played 3 matches or 2 matches. Because if it has played 3 matches, then it has drawn 2 and lost 1. And if it has played 2 matches, then it has just drawn 2 and lost 0. So to confirm that, let's apply some more logic. I know that Chelsea has had 2 draws. Let's say it lost the third match. Let's say it played the third match and lost the third match. Then in that case, we would be sure that Chelsea has given away at least 1 point in each match, because the 2 matches which were draws, it has given away 1 point to the opposite teams, while the match it lost, it gave away 2 points to other teams. But when we see Man U has 0 points, we know that Chelsea has not given away any point to Man U, since Man U is stuck at 0 points. That means Chelsea did not play Man U at all. So since Chelsea did not play Man U, it has played at most 2 matches. And we know that it has definitely played 2 matches, because it has drawn 2 matches. So now we are sure that Chelsea had played 2 matches and drawn both of them. As a result, we can fill lost for Chelsea also, which is 0. Now coming to Man U. Now Man U, since it has 0 points, we are sure that it has not won any match and also not drawn any match. Why? Because had it won a single match or drawn a single match, it would have had more than 0 points. But still we are not sure that how many matches has Man U played. We know that Man U did not play Chelsea, that is right. But we don't know that has Man U played just 1 match, or has Man U played 2 matches. So this is still a mystery. But what we can definitely say is that Man U has not won any match and not drawn any match. So this is the table we have now. Since we can't predict any more about Man U, let's try to predict about Arsenal. For predicting the matches about Arsenal, we have to look about the status of other teams. For AC Milan, we know that it played 3 matches, won 2. We also know that it drew 1 match and that was against Chelsea. Because Chelsea, as we know, it has drawn 2 matches. We also know that Chelsea did not play against Man U, which we just concluded in our last slide. So Chelsea, since it did not play against Man U, that means Chelsea drew with AC Milan and Arsenal. So this is about Chelsea. Now AC Milan, since it has drawn 1 against Chelsea, that means it has won against Arsenal and Man U. So another result we have is AC Milan won against Arsenal and Man U. So looking at Chelsea and AC Milan's results, we can say that Arsenal is featuring at 2 places. It drew with Chelsea because one result says Chelsea drew with Arsenal. On other hand, AC Milan won against Arsenal, so that means Arsenal lost to AC Milan. So we are sure that Arsenal drew against Chelsea and Arsenal lost to AC Milan. What about the third match against Man U? Either it has played or it has not played. But we are sure that it has played at least 2 matches and lost to AC Milan and drawn against Chelsea. So, for predicting the result of the third match, that whether it has played or not, let's look at this goals for and goals against. Now, Arsenal, we know is lost 1 match for sure, which would mean a negative goal difference. We know that it has drawn 1 match, which would mean a 0 goal difference. So if it has just played 2 matches, the goal difference for Arsenal should be negative. But that is not the case. Goal difference for Arsenal is 0. 4 minus 4 equal to 0. So, since the goal difference for Arsenal is not negative, that means there must have been some positive goal difference to balance out this negative. And that positive goal difference must have come out from its third match, which was against Man U. So since the goal difference for Arsenal versus Man U match is positive, we can say that Arsenal beat Man U. Hence, now we have result of all 3 matches for Arsenal. It won against Man U, drew against Chelsea and lost to AC Milan. Hence, it has played 3 matches. Now we can write the points of Arsenal as well. For winning 1, 2 points. For drawing 1, 1 point. And for losing 0 point. So that means Arsenal has a total of 3 points. Now coming back to Man U. We know that Man U did not play against Chelsea. We know that. Or Chelsea did not play Man U, as I wrote. We know that AC Milan beat Man U because 2 victories of AC Milan were against Arsenal and Man U. We also know that Arsenal beat Man U because 1 match which Arsenal has won was against Man U. So for Man U we can say that it has played 2 matches, one against AC Milan and one against Arsenal, and lost both. So for Man U also we have the table complete. So now that we have the full table with us, let's try solving the problems. So first problem goes like this. What was the score of the match between AC Milan and Arsenal? So before going to the score, let's revise the result. As per our result, Arsenal lost to AC Milan as discussed in one of the previous slides. So we have AC Milan beat Arsenal. This is for sure. Now let's look at the score. For score, let's just have a look at goals against for AC Milan and Arsenal. So Arsenal, if I see, there are 4 goals which have been scored against Arsenal. I know that the out of 4 goals scored against Arsenal, Man U has not scored any of them. In fact, Man U has not scored any goal against any of the team. So therefore, 4 goals which have been scored against Arsenal have been either by AC Milan or Chelsea. Similarly for AC Milan as well, 2 goals scored have been either against Arsenal or Chelsea. On the other hand, if I see Chelsea, it has scored 4 goals. And I also know that Chelsea did not play Man U, so Chelsea has played AC Milan and Arsenal. Hence, these 4 goals have been scored against either AC Milan or Arsenal. So that means out of these 6 goals which have been scored, 4 have been scored by Chelsea. While I see that there are total 6 goals which have been scored together against AC Milan and Arsenal, where these 2 extra goals are coming from. So these 2 extra goals, as I see, are coming from match between Arsenal and AC Milan. So between Arsenal and AC Milan, 2 goals scored. Now if 2 goals were scored between Arsenal and AC Milan, I'm sorry. So the score should have either been 2-0 or 1-1. But since we know that AC Milan beat Arsenal, score can't be 1-1 because in that case it would have been a draw. Hence we are sure that the score between AC Milan and Arsenal is 2-0. So moving on to the next problem. What was the score of the match between Arsenal and Man U? Now I know that Arsenal won against Man U. I also know that among the goals against Arsenal, it has conceded 2 goals against AC Milan. That means other 2 goals it has conceded were against Chelsea. I also know that Arsenal and Chelsea played a draw. That means if it conceded 2 goals against Chelsea, it also scored 2 against Chelsea. That leaves me with 2 more goals to be balanced here. Now these 2 more goals were definitely not scored against AC Milan because against AC Milan it has scored 0. That means these 2 goals against were scored definitely against Man U. We also know that Man U has not scored any goal in the tournament, so that's why it has not scored any goal against Arsenal also. So that means Arsenal scored 2 against Man U and Man U scored 0 against Arsenal. So the score of Arsenal Man U match was 2-0. Moving on to the last problem. Let me rewrite the results of the previous problems. That is 2-0, 2-0. What was the score of the match between Chelsea and AC Milan? Now looking at Chelsea's matches, it played 2. One of the matches was Chelsea and Arsenal, for which I figured out the score was 2-2 in my previous slide itself. Because see, Arsenal did 2 against Chelsea, 2 goals against Chelsea, and it also conceded 2 goals against Chelsea. That means Chelsea Arsenal score was 2-2. But I see that Chelsea has scored 4 goals and has conceded 4 goals. That means other 2 goals it has scored and conceded were against AC Milan. So the score between Chelsea and AC Milan should also be 2-2. So that brings me at the end of the solving the problems. So before winding off this video, I would like to point out couple of things to you guys. One is the practice resources. So you can download the doc from the following link, which contains practice problems pertaining to the lecture which we had today. In this doc, you can try out the second and third problem set which would apply the concepts which we learned today. Next is the next topic of my video, which is like this. It is about knockout format problems. So let's have a quick look at the sample problem which would be expected. It is like this. In the table below is the listing of players seeded from highest number 1 to lowest number 32 who are due to play in an Association of Tennis Players ATP tournament for women. This tournament has 4 knockout rounds before the final. That is first round, second round, quarterfinals and semi-final. In the first round, highest seeded player plays the lowest seeded player, that is seed number 32, which is designated match number 1 of the first round. The second seeded player plays the 31st seeded player, which is designated at the match number 2 of the first round, and so on. And then there are some more rules. But thing to note is that it has 4 knockout rounds. Now knockout round means that as soon as you lose, you are out of the tournament. Now this was not the same for the league format problems which we had practiced just now in this video. So it is slightly different, and these type of problems, solving them requires a different set of skills altogether. So those are the skills which we will be learning in our next video. The kind of questions you can expect for such problems are listed here. That is, one of them is, say, if there are no upsets or lower seeded player, that is a lower seeded player beating a higher seeded player in the first round, and only matches number 6, 7 and 8 of the second round result in upsets, then who would meet Lindsay Davenport in quarterfinals in case Davenport reaches quarterfinals. So not just we will be practicing the concept, but also solving the questions around it. So see you in the next video. Goodbye. Thank you.